All right, well, seeing as how it's a little past 7, we
6:30.
will start the meeting. And is there anyone here for Commissioners' Public Forum? Hearing no one.
Hello,
I guess
everyone.
we'll go right to minutes.
Hi, Jack.
Hi, Jack.
Hello.
What do you have for us, Paul?
Okay, good evening, everyone. First of all, we have commissioners' salaries, $500. And Osterman for delivery on September 2nd, 2021, $1,331.02. Toshiba for our quarterly copier billing, $47.75. And Veolia for the August 2021 monthly services, $39,096.64. Next, we have Franklin Electric for grinder pump parts, $507.50. And EJ Prescott for meters, $869.10. Boston Globe for processing of our quarterly billing, $374.27. And the Commonwealth of Mass for lien for a privilege fee on 17B-13.8, $105. Next, we have Peter Boria, reimbursement for some of the training that was done, $549. LaForte Electric for pump change out on 69 Old Worcester Road, $595. And lastly, Charlton Dudley Regional School District for copy paper, $23.75.
There was one more that I sent, Franklin Electric in the dollar amount of $1,085. I sent that this afternoon.
Okay, well, that would change the total. I don't know if you can
Yep.
calculate it. So,
To $45,084.03.
Do we have a second on that for the warrants and signatures?
I'll second that.
Very good. Any questions, discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mr. Ridlack.
Aye.
Mr. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Gagner,
aye.
and Mr. Jennings.
Aye. Very good. What else do you have for us, Paul?
Next, I've got, the last thing I've got is the minutes of August 9th, 2021 for review, and I'd like to make a motion to approve them as written.
Do we have a second?
I will second that as well.
Very good. Any questions, errors, omissions? Hearing none. All those in favor, roll call vote.
Mr. Ridlack,
Aye.
Mr. Cameron,
Aye.
Mr. Gagner,
Aye.
and Mr. Jennings.
Aye. Very good. Thank you, Paul. I guess Vinny is in attendance. I see him on. Do you
Yep.
want to give us the rundown for July, Vinny?
Sure thing. Give me just a second. All right. For the month of July, we were fully staffed. Patrick Adams came on board and Dylan Moriarty. So we were full staff and able to complete a bunch of tasks. Health and safety. We had antibacterial wipes everywhere, hand sanitizer. Training in July, we trained on compressed gas cylinders and hot work safety. Both of them were on JJ Keller. During the month of July, there were no exceedances in the compliance department, so that was a good thing. Moving on down to operations and maintenance. We had LaFleur Electric out to install and program a VFD for EQ Tank 3, Pump A. On July 9th, we got the remnants of Hurricane Elsa. We got 2.5 inches of rain that came in really fast. The plant was overrun with influent. We had all 6 EQ pumps running, plus the gas pump, just to keep up with it. It was kind of crazy here for a few hours. Veolia Technical and Performance visited in July, and we did a really extensive sampling plan that they developed. It was 7 days straight, and I attached a little chart of where we grabbed and what kind of samples we collected. So it was 7 days straight. Some of them were 23-hour composite samples. Some of them we'd go out and grab a grab sample a few times a day, mix them together, and that was that sample. The sludge tanks, we took 4 samples and mixed those together. So it was really comprehensive. There was a lot of good data collected from that. And we have a full report that we can furnish the town with at any point. After that, COMAG had a mixer VFD fail. And I believe this is the second one. If not, next month we'll talk about the other one. The VFDs are over 10 years old and they're an electrical component. They just start dying at some point. They don't last forever, and I've got a feeling we're going to see more of these down the road. So this is either the first or the second one. We had 2 go around the same time. RBC number 2 overflowed in July, and it was caused by some rags that got caught in the effluent of it. And the rags were in there because the screen implant was down back in February. They kind of make their way through the plant, and they get caught up in spots they're not supposed to be, and we end up with overflows in the plant. So we cleaned those all out. We checked the other RBCs and we removed what we could for rags. That screening piece of equipment's back online, and it is removing rags now, so we're good there. On July 17th, we got another big rainstorm. It was 2 inches of rain, which anything over an inch of rain that falls in a few hour period, the plant really has a hard time handling. It's just not designed for that kind of sudden inflow. The Allmax Antero software that the town procured for us, we've got a lot of pieces of equipment loaded in there. We're using it every week. It generates work orders telling us what we should be looking at. And it's because we're putting in all that data, but it reminds you weekly of what you should be looking at. A really good system. We're going to continue to build it up, but we're getting to a point now where it's working out really well every week. We get a bunch of reminders to go and check this or change that. Working out good. Down to the collection system section. On July 14th, the Mugget Hill pump station called out with a high wet well alarm. The operator that was on call called me. I contacted Slim Sewer Service. They got out there right away. They met the operator about the same time, and they pumped it down. And when they got down to where they could see the pumps, they could see every time the pumps would turn on, the pipe would pull away from the wall. And there's a couple of pictures attached here in the MOR. And you can see where that 90 bolts to the wall, that's where it was broken. The manufacturer of the pump station used plastic in that one spot. They did it because they clocked the pipe wrong. The only way you can fix a pipe that's clocked wrong is either by drilling holes like we did, or by using a Van Stone fitting, which is only available in PVC. So we bought a brand new ductile iron 90. We re-drilled the holes to the right pattern, so we were able to bolt it all together with metal. It should last a really long time. There were some engineers out checking manholes on Route 20, establish flow capabilities. They're evaluating it for some properties that are looking to tie into the system on Route 20. We had a high sound alarm at night on North Main Street. We got called in for that one. And it was a bunch of baby wipes. We had to pull the pump apart the next day and pull all the wipes out. As far as pump station activities, it was just regular checking the MTAs every day, North Main, and nothing out of the ordinary. Grinder pump calls, as you can see from the little box I built you, we had a few. July 1st at 77 Lakeview, it was an accidental alarm. They had an electrician doing some work. He turned the power off. It was off for a day or so. When they turned it back on, the wet well was full, so it was in an alarm state. They weren't sure what was going on, so they shut the power back off and called us. We went out there, turned it on, pumped it down, checked everything. Everything was fine. 29 Hollywood, we replaced the pump, just burnt out. 12 Morton Station, we cleaned the floats. There was a lot of grease on them. 199 Sunset, replaced the pump. 41 Burlingame, replaced the pump. And 223 Sunset, we replaced the pump. So it was a big month for pumps. And we test them before we replace them, and they're all dead shorts. So that's why they're getting replaced. The dig safe section, we received 198 in July. And it looks like they should be going down in the coming months. There's not as many coming in. And in the extra comments section, I just basically covered a little bit on the sampling, which we already talked about. We're still holding off on the lime feeder. I know you guys gave me the approval to buy. You told me I could hold off until they've evaluated all the areas of the plant, make sure we get one big enough. So technical and performance came in. We did sampling where they said, okay, the plant's going to run effectively. But now we have the CPI group who's going through, and they're going to make some recommendations on any upgrades the plant will benefit from. So we're not going to order that lime feeder until they are done with their study. That concludes the MOR for this month.
Well, thank you very much, Vinny. Does anyone have any questions for Vinny on the MOR? All right, hearing none. John, are you in attendance this evening to bring us through the revised price proposal?
No, Mr. Chair, John was not able to make it tonight. So
He is
we,
not.
no, and as we were, again, this revised price proposal came in Friday. So Sue and I were reviewing it today, and she noticed that the sludge number, that the amount that the allowance for sludge might not be high enough. So I reached out to John, and he's going to double check his numbers there and get back to us for our next meeting. So
All right,
I guess,
very good.
I think in general, though, maybe we can just hit the high points and, let the rest of the commission know that yourself, Mr. Coleman, and I met with John Oatley and Vinny to discuss their proposal. And the biggest changes that Veolia was willing to make to help lower the price was to do with what John referenced as an annual true-up for chemicals and sludge. That way they're not carrying risk of additional costs that might be unknown at the time. And it also allows us to maybe have some cost savings if there are less costs for chemicals and sludge throughout the year. So in the proposal, you'll see that John added an annual service fee and allowance for chemicals of $78,400 and change. And for sludge, there's an allowance of $67,500. So at the end of the year, we'll go through and they'll provide us documentation showing how much was actually spent on those two items and proposed if the commission agrees. And then if they spent more, we'll have to fund them for that additional cost. And if it was less, we'll get a credit in some form moving forward. So by being able to do that, Veolia was able to reduce their initial fee by $34,381. That also includes removing the sewer line jetting that was part of the scope from the original RFP that was put out 5 years ago. And it also includes deleted the cost of the vehicle for Veolia to provide a vehicle rather than the town providing the vehicle for sewer operations. So, and the one other thing included was the CPI index. The annual increase will be based on 75% based on CPI Boston and 25% CPI water, sewer, and trash collection services. So.
And these are all points that we discussed in the meeting when Commissioner Coleman, myself, and you were in attendance with Vinny and John.
Yes. Yeah, so unfortunately, John couldn't make it tonight. But after we discuss the sludge cost, the sludge allowance, he is going to verify that, make sure it's correct, and be ready to present at your meeting on October 4th.
Excellent.
As long as, if everyone reviewed it and there's no initial concerns, then we'll just continue to move forward and try and make sure everything is precise as possible, because I don't want to start a new 5-year contract, get to the end of year 1, and then have a big surprise based on the cost. So I think a couple of weeks
Sure.
for John to just to vet out those numbers again and make sure they're accurate. It is time well spent.
Yeah, that's great. And does anyone on the commission have any questions concerning this topic? Well, moving forward then, I guess if anyone does review it further and have any questions, we can bring them up at that October meeting and have them answered on that evening.
Do you want to talk about funding, Mr. Jennings, a little bit? Just seeing we have maybe some time tonight. So the additional cost for the new project is it's not over one complete fiscal year. So we have 4 months at the old price, at the old contract price, and we're gonna have 8 months at the new price. And based on what we have budgeted this year, I believe we're gonna have to go to special town meeting in November and ask to increase our, we have a sewer plant operations line item. We're probably gonna have to increase that by an additional $100,000 to cover the cost of this increase for the remainder of the fiscal year.
But fortunately enough, that does not, at this time, require a rate increase in order to cover it.
Correct. I believe, in talking with the finance director, looking at how our budget is balanced this year, we should be able to offset that with additional user fees.
And then we'll look at doing potentially a rate increase moving forward year or the year after.
Yes, I would ask that this winter we hire a consultant to come in and do a rate increase and possibly consider going to a tiered rate structure, much like they do for water, instead of just a flat rate structure. And then maybe if we can do that without it being too aggressive on residential customers, we can implement that starting July 1. So we can use that new rate to balance our budget for FY23.
Excellent.
So that's kind of
Does anyone have
put that out
questions
there.
about one or the rate increase of the future? All right. I guess hearing none, you want to move on to new business, Peter, and
Sure.
take us through the American Rescue Plan Act
Yeah,
funds?
so the town is scheduled to receive approximately $4 million in American Rescue Plan ARPA funds from the federal government. These funds are intended to be used on specific items, and water and sewer infrastructure are among the items that are eligible. Again, John is going to work on creating a proposal to have an engineer come in and create some projects for us to possibly do under the ARPA funds. So the thought in talking with Andrew, the town administrator, I believe he has us set aside for about $1 million of that $4 million to do improvements at the sewer treatment plant. And in talking with John, trying to figure out what type of improvements we can do so that we won't make an improvement and have to redo it when our new NIPD's permit is put into place. John was thinking about doing the Headworks building that Vinny talked about, that screens all the grit and screens the rags out, is original to the small treatment plant that was built here before any of the upgrades. And it might be time to think of a way to improve that, or maybe renovate that, or do something different. So, and then also looking at the EQ tanks and try and find a way to start doing some type of ammonia treatment in that area to help remove ammonia before it gets into the RBCs, just to help the plant run a little bit more efficiently. So John had Wright Pierce here, maybe last week, and they're gonna come up with a proposal. And then talking to Andrew, once we get that proposal from them to do the, you know, the preliminary engineering design of what projects, might look like to do improvements there, we can submit that to Andrew. And hopefully they'll approve that funding so we can start the engineering process. And then once we get there and they get some good ideas, we'll go back to Andrew and go for full funding for full-blown engineering design and construction.
Very good. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Peter regarding this? All right, hearing none. About the annual generator service contract, Pete.
Yes, so again, it's that time of year we have to renew the annual contract to service our generators. We have 9 generators covered by this contract, which includes semi-annual maintenance, and we have 2 quotes for you to consider. FM Generator, who is our current provider, is $3,350, and Bigelow Electric is $3,800. Now, just so everyone's aware, FM Generator comes out, and again, they do the typical maintenance where they change the filters, change the oil, and send you a list for each generator of repairs they recommend. Whether the most recent run was they wanted to have a lot of the coolant flushed because it was getting old and maybe getting acidic. A lot of the block heater cooling lines needed to be replaced. Some air filters needed to be replaced. So if you look across all 9 generators, the cost for them to do that was about $15,000 to $17,000. Fortunately, Vinny and his guys went and bought a bunch of coolant, bought a bunch of heater hose, ordered the filters they needed, and went out and did all that maintenance on their own. So I think it's a good contract to have where FM Generator will come in and do the semi-annual maintenance and then not stop us or hinder us from doing any of the other repairs where Vinny feels that it's within his wheelhouse to go ahead and do that. So I just want to thank Vinny and the guys for doing those repairs, and they saved us probably at least 70% over what it would cost us to have FM Generator do those repairs. So I appreciate that, and they did a good job with it.
Yep. Great job, Vinny and crew. Peter, have you been satisfied working with FM Generator for the last contract?
Yes, considering that I don't think anyone else will provide a better service. So yeah, they're good.
All right.
So
So you need
I would ask you to make a motion to approve the contract with FM Generator for a semi-annual maintenance.
All right. Would someone like to make a motion to approve FM Generator as the provider for $3,350? Mr. Coleman, Jack, Paul?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion then to approve FM Generator for, was it $3,300 and something dollars? That's an
$3,350.
Okay,
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Very good. Any further discussion? Hearing none, how about a roll call vote?
Mr. Ridlack,
Aye.
Mr. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Gagnon,
aye.
and Mr. Jennings.
Aye. All right. We have next for us, Peter.
We have sewer billing for new water customers. So as part of the ExxonMobil project, we have some sewer customers who are currently billed flat rate who are connecting to the new town line being connected by ExxonMobil. And part of that is they're going to be having a water meter installed. So it makes it very easy for us to switch them over to metered billing, which is a priority of the department. So it's something that Sue's been sending letters out to homeowners, letting them know that now that the meter's in place, they can switch over to metered use if they like. I guess my question to you is, do you want us to switch them over regardless if they want to or not, because the meter is there? So you'll see the letters attached letting them know that they can change from flat to metered billing, and that their quarterly bill will be based on metered usage. There's a quick form for them to fill out that, again, there's no cost for them to do so. And they'll get billed based on usage. Now, some residents aren't going to want to change from flat to metered, but I know the commission in the past has voted that every time there's a property transaction where it transfers hands, that property should be switched from flat to metered. So this would just make it a nice, easy way for us to transition these residents as well from flat to metered. As we're approaching it right now, we're only going to do it if they ask us to, based on the letter. We're not going to force it on them. But the meter data is there for us to use if you want us to.
So at this point in time, you've already sent out the letter, correct?
No, we have not. The only.
Oh, you have? Okay.
No. The only people that got anything were the ones that contacted us first and asked to be changed over to meter.
Okay. And what kind of savings are these people finding?
It really depends on how much they use. So, I mean, if they have a 2-bedroom house with one couple, they're going to save probably maybe 10 or 20%. But when it costs them $500 to install a meter, those savings don't make it worth their while. Where now, if it's the meter's installed for free, and it's as simple as signing a piece of paper, then they'll probably do that. Now, if they have a 3-bedroom house and they have 4 kids and they're doing a bunch of wash, they're not going to see any savings. It might actually cost them more. So it's really hard to say. You know, it's really case by case and how they use their water and what they do.
Sure. And at this point in time, I mean, I don't know, personally, I think that if they're going to fill out the paperwork and change it over, great. If not, then so let it be. But how many people do you think are actually going to return the form?
I'm going to say probably half. I like to be optimistic and say half of the people will say, that's great. I didn't know I was going to be able to do this. Now, again, probably, you know, where there's maybe a 3-bedroom home and it's one couple and one child living there or something like that. It really depends on how they're currently being billed, and if they look at it and say, we can conserve and we can save based on just a flat fee. So
policy right now is that they can remain on the flat fee unless they ask to change.
Well, that's how we're approaching it. Rather than making it a forced change where we might have a few upset people, is we'll start with this letter letting them know that they're able to change because of the new water meter installed, and see what we get back for responses.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that somewhere down the road we could always change the policy and just say, if you're on a metered bill, if you're on a meter, then you're going to get an actual bill. And no one can argue the case of, if you're actually using X number of gallons, then you pay for it. But I think that would really require a policy change in an overall standard, right? Everybody would apply.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that you didn't want that, the commission didn't want to make that step now, and that moving forward with it being at their discretion or their option is okay.
All right. Do you need a motion to send out the letter?
I don't think so. I just think, I just wanted to make sure that you were in the loop with how we were approaching it, and making sure that you, like I said, you didn't want us to make it a definitive thing where the meter is being installed and that's how you're going to get billed now.
All
It'll
right.
be-
Does anyone have questions for Peter or Sue on the metered or the non-metered billing.
So it's gonna
Flat
be,
rate.
it'll be their option for right now.
Yep.
Okay,
If they sell the house, will it then not be there an option?
If the house transfers owners, then we'll ask the new owner to install a meter, yes, like we've been doing all along. And it's an easier transition for a new owner to do it than a current owner if they choose not to.
I'm fine letting it be as it is then.
Okay.
Anyone else have any objection or statements? Hearing none, I guess move on to the privilege fee for lot 17-B-13.8.
Yeah, so this is the privilege fee that was assessed back in 2016 or 2017 for Rockaway Realty Trust for, I believe it was a 32 unit duplex subdivision. And he has previously sold that. So when he did sell it, the portion of the property that has the approved site plan for the development was put onto a new lot was created for that. So the betterment stayed with the original lot where the project wasn't associated. So we've taken quite a few votes on this already to transfer that privilege fee to the new lot. And now I'm just asking again that we, probably for informational purposes only, because it's been voted on transfer of the lien, but we will be asking to sign the new lien that we can record on the new lot.
Excellent. And this will be part of our package for
Yes.
signature, Sue,
yep,
tomorrow.
yes.
Okay. All right. Does anyone have any questions on the privilege fee for lot 17-B-13.8? All right. Hearing none. How about the new truck?
New truck. So I've been getting prices to replace the 2012 Ford F-250 that Veolia uses. I would like to propose that you purchase a new Ford F-250 with a service body and plow. And this is pretty much the same as what they have. I have a quote for a vehicle that they have in stock at this time from MHQ. The previous quote that I attached was for a new vehicle that they would order if we got approval at town meeting. And because if we were to wait till then and we were waiting on a new vehicle to come in, it's about a 4 to 6 month wait time. So I talked with Andrew earlier, and we have enough money in our capital line item to purchase a vehicle now if you approve it. So I have a quote for a 2021 Ford F-250 that's in stock. It's a gem green. That's the same as the Ford, the truck that the cemetery superintendent has, for $50,219, and the lead time on that is about 8 to 12 weeks. So we would have it for this winter.
That is different from the quote that you have on here in our
Yeah,
package.
Yeah, it's a little bit more, and what I think the main reason it's more is because it's a truck that they have in stock with the pickup body on it. So they can't do the pickup body delete for $615. So they're gonna put the service body on it, and we'll end up taking the pickup body home with us somehow, and we'll have an extra pickup body that I guess we can let the cemetery commission use on their pickup if they happen to have any problems, or you could try and surplus it and sell it. So it's so the new price, so the price quoted for their in-stock vehicle is $50,219 if you want to move forward now. And then we could go to town meeting in November and ask them to replenish that $50,000 from retained earnings to get us back to where we were in that capital line. And we should have
Does
this
the
truck before winter.
currently have a plow on it?
The truck now has, it currently has a plow and a small trailer hitch sander. That doesn't get used that often.
Okay. What shape is the plow in?
The plow now, the truck's not in terrible shape. I think the truck now, if we were to get this one before winter, could be surplused and sold. And, you know, might be worth something to the right person. I know
We can't trade
I'm sorry.
We can't trade it in.
We could, I didn't ask MHQ. I think we would get more if we tried to surplus it and trade it in. Because the truck is drivable, again, we did spend a couple $1,000s on it, I think, this summer. My concern is that if we start to use it this winter, it might have quite a bit more repairs that might have to be made.
Well, given the current marketplace of used vehicles, I think that I mean, you should get a premium for it, and
Yeah.
if it's in decent shape, I mean, I wonder what they would give us for a trade-in.
I can ask them if you'll if you want to if you're okay moving forward with their in-stock vehicle, and if you just want to approve the full price, I will ask them about a trade-in and if it's possible. And then that would just get deducted and we wouldn't have to spend the full amount.
I think that's the cleanest, most direct way to do it for our department.
Yep.
I mean, I think you could very easily go on Kelly Blue Book and see what it's worth, and if it's not coming close, then you know, it's a no deal, and it just goes through the surplus equipment for the town to be auctioned off, or however they're going to do it. But if we could trade it in, then naturally it comes directly off what we're paying out of our budget. And it's less that we have to go through or back through the town for. Does anyone else like that way of thinking or not like it?
So again, I would ask that you approve the full amount in case they don't take it in on trade. And that way there I can sign the PO and lock it up before someone else grabs it, because they don't have an abundance of trucks in stock at this time.
So what is the exact amount, Peter?
$50,219.
So would someone like to make a motion to approve $50,219 for the purchase of the new truck for the sewer department for our contract with Viola?
I'll make a motion to move forward with the purchase for $50,219 of the new truck.
I'll second.
Do we? Excellent. Any further discussion?
Yeah, just a little bit. How many miles are on the old truck?
Vinny, do you know?
That,
100% positive. I believe it's around 70,000.
70? Okay.
That's 70,000 in Charlton.
Well, it should have some salvage value. If it's only 70,000,
Yes.
you know, it's still a pretty good truck for somebody.
Yeah, yes, I believe it can be a good truck for somebody this winter to use, and so that's why I think if we can get the new truck before winter comes and if they don't take it in on trade, get it out there, we'd be in good shape. So that way there, again, I'll ask you to approve the total price, and if they happen to take it in on trade, we just won't have to pay the full price. If the trade-in price isn't fair, I'll let you know how it goes, and we'll just go ahead and do it as surplus instead.
Very good. All those in favor, roll call vote.
Mr. Ridlack,
Aye.
Mr. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Gagner,
Aye.
Mr. Jennings.
Aye. All right. Let us know how you make out on that, Peter.
Definitely.
All right. Next, we have the Buffingville Access Road RFP.
Yes, so we received 18 proposals to construct the Buffingville Access Road, ranging from 1.3 million to 3.56 million. A copy of the list of bidders is attached, as well as a tabulated list of the top 3 proposals. So I know Mr. Jennings talked about doing a separate meeting to discuss this. I just wanted to present this to you tonight, just so you had it for informational purposes, and we can talk about when you might want to get together to sit down and have that separate meeting to really just delve into this and determine what the next steps will be. And see if anyone had any questions about the RFPs and what we received.
So our next regular scheduled meeting is going to be on the 4th, correct?
Yes.
So I would really like to see if anyone would like to have a separate subcommittee on the 5th to discuss this and the overall direction of moving forward with Buffingville and with the water supply in general. So maybe if anyone would like to volunteer at this time, if not, then potentially Mr. Cantwell would like to participate in that, and we can discuss that with him when he's feeling better.
Would you like that to be just a subcommittee, or do you want it to be a posted meeting where we have more than 2 members?
Well, I mean, what does everybody else want to do? Really, I'm fine with either which way. So
I guess it's going to depend on, you know, what the other members want for involvement. If they want to be involved in kind of now getting
sure,
into the nitty
if
gritty.
anyone else wants to be involved, we can post it, and if not, it'll be a subcommittee the day after our next regular scheduled meeting. So
I would like to be involved, but I don't know how much information I'll be able to provide or insight, because I do not know much about it, but am interested to see what you guys have to say about it.
Excellent. Well, let's post a meeting then, and we'll do it the day after the next regular scheduled meeting. If we can do that on Tuesday, the 5th, is it?
Yeah. Would you like that to be in the afternoon, at night, in person?
Let's do it. Let's do it at this time. Same time, same place. If that works for everyone.
Sure. Okay. We can do that.
Excellent. All right.
And that way, if you don't have a quorum, we'll just get together and talk about it anyways. But if 3 or more of you show up, we're covered, and we can just move forward.
Sure. All right.
Back to, is that going to be in person or Zoom?
Zoom.
Okay.
Unless everyone would like to do in person.
Nope.
Zoom works for me.
Zoom it is. All right. Water construction update, Peter.
Yeah, so things are starting to wind down a little bit. Sue sent out our mailing regarding the 1-year connection period on July 22nd. And as far as service connections go, Albany's Brothers are still installing service lines to the homes and working with their subcontractors to make the connections inside of the basement. Kleinfelder has been providing detailed information for each connection to Sue as they take place. So far, there are 138 signed agreements to connect, and 70 of those have been completed. We're getting there.
I have a question. Will you want us, our commission, to send out another letter? Or is it just the one? The next letter Kleinfelder is sending out is going to be in November. And that's the certified letter that's going to go out. And our cutoff date, well, their cutoff date for the grace period is April 6th.
Of 2022.
So let's let them, my feeling would be let them send out their letter in November, and then potentially after the first of the year at some point in time, either 3 months to go, maybe, or 4 months to go, send out a final letter.
Okay.
And maybe we can just put that on our December agenda to discuss.
By then, there shouldn't be many left that they should hear back from.
Should be a short list.
Yes.
Excellent.
As
All right.
far,
Any
as far as the Buffingville Access Road meeting, is there any other information that you're gonna want for that, for me to provide?
I personally do not need any more information, but I would urge any of the other commissioners, if there was any information that they'd like. And just for Mr. Coleman's benefit and Jack's, being that you guys are new members, I think what we're going to do is do a rundown of the past probably 6 to 8 years and what's transpired to lead us up to this contract or potential contract with the Buffingville access point. And it's going to be a total summation of where the water line stands and where our water agreement stands with the town of Southbridge. So I think that, Peter, you have all the information at your fingertips. You know it all pretty well. I know a good portion of it. Paul has been on the scene for all of it, being the senior member here. And Dave's up to speed on a lot of it as well. Jack and Mr. Coleman, naturally, you guys being new, get the refresher course and make a good decision to move forward and shape the direction of where this department's going.
That's good.
All right, I'll try and put together that stuff then to make sure we have all that information together.
All right. Well, any new business not known at the time of posting? Hearing none. Is there anything you'd like to bring forward, Peter, at this time?
No, I'm good.
All right. We'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
And I will second that.
Very good. A roll call vote.
Mr. Ridlack,
Aye.
Mr. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Gagner,
Aye.
and Mr. Jennings.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Aye. Have a good evening, everyone.
Wait 1 second. Cam or Jack, would either of you be able to swing by tomorrow?
I will be able to.
Okay. Thank you. And then Paul and Russ, you as well?
We will.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Have a
everybody.
good evening.
Have a good night.
Have a
Good
good one.
night.
I know.